Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. Welcome to another Canadian Housing Weekly Wrap-Up. When there's enough good stories, we'll wrap up a country or wrap up the country of origin where the housing crisis is being hit the most, or the cities in that country that are being hit the most. I did Australia not too long ago. I did one in New Zealand. It's happening all over. Every English-speaking country is following the same suit. It's very scary to see where things are headed, especially with them holding on rates, which is a good thing. And hopefully they could raise rates, but they don't want to. Even though we have this thriving economy, we have this great jobs market, you should be raising interest rates to show and form a strong, powerful country. So the rest of the world could see, look, everyone's lowering rates. We're raising ours. We're doing good. But realistically, no one's doing well right now. So this week's top stories: Canadian new home prices fall while real estate owners are withdrawing a whack of equity. So we've been talking about this equity of HELOCs, second mortgages, third mortgages, home lines of credit, whatever you want to call them. People are consuming. They need their homes. They use their homes as ATM machines to consume. Plain and simple. I've been saying this for years. ATM machines. Go back to trends in the housing market from 3 years ago. I'm talking about it nonstop. Stop using your home as an ATM machine. It's not what its purpose is for. Whatever happened to people building a bit of wealth and going from there and yeah, you get where I'm saying. Anyways, guys, today's transmission was brought to you by my Patreon supporters. Here's my coffee right here. I just wanted to throw that out there. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here it is. Updates on everything, guys. Mike in the Night was a hit last night. Don't forget, if you want to pledge $1 a month and join the family on Patreon, I got 16 Patreon supporters. So if you want to be number 17, come on and join the show. And Instagram, I'm on there now. So if you go to the top of my channel, you'll see an Instagram button right here. And you're welcome to message me on there. And back to this, guys. All right. Canadian real estate stats: can new home prices fall most since 2009? Canadian new home prices are sliding, according to Statistics Canada. The National New Home Price Index, NHPI, fell 0.1% in July when compared to a month before. This represents a 0.39% decline compared to the same month last year. Not a large decline, but this is the third consecutive month of deceleration. So 1 is kind of a heh. 2, it becomes a stat. 3, it becomes it becomes normalized. It becomes now it's a trend, right? 1 is heh. 2 is kind of a stat. 2 months back to back. Yeah, let's see the third month. And third month, it becomes a trend now, and it keeps trending out. June was the first month of negative price growth, not a trend yet, but worth watching to see if new home prices begin to dip lower. So I beg to differ. I believe that it is a trend now, and houses will dip lower because no one's wages are in line with purchasing power to buy these homes. Pure, plain and simple. And it's not the two major cities. They keep saying Toronto and Vancouver. No. It's Vancouver, it's West Van, it's North Van, it's Richmond, it's Surrey, BC, it's Burnaby, it's Chilliwack, it's Abbotsford, Coquitlam. Yeah, it's Hope. It's not just Vancouver. So when you get the politicians saying, "Oh, Vancouver and Toronto," no, that's a huge chunk of the Lower Mainland. When they say Toronto, no, it's Toronto, Mississauga, Oakville, Brampton, Richmond Hill, Woodbridge, Thornhill, Cambridge, Waterloo, Bolton. So it's not just Toronto, it's all these surrounding areas. You take those two massive surrounding areas and put them together, it's probably half of Canada's population right there. You take the Lower Mainland from Vancouver all the way to Hope, okay? And north to, like, let's say maybe north to Whistler. And then you take Toronto and the whole Golden Horseshoe, that whole section there, all the way to Niagara Falls and maybe all the way to London. You could take all that, and Windsor, and you take all that, that's probably more than half of Canada's population right there. Easy. So they got to stop saying, oh, just Toronto and Vancouver are plagued with this housing crisis problem where people can't afford. No, it's everywhere. So people started from the cities, they mass left or mass exited to the secondary cities, tri-cities, and now they're in the sticks. Right? So let's move on. Canadian HELOC debt rises to over $302 billion. We've been covering this since it was at $212 billion in HELOC. I think it was. I've been covering this on this channel for ages. Canadians are using home equity, lines of credit, HELOC to tap into paper wealth. Again, this is what's growing our economy, and this is what's making our GDP look good, but it's not. In fact, our economy is shrinking. So, yeah, that's what's happening. The outstanding balance of loans hit $302 billion in June, up 5.37% from last year. The rate of growth of deceleration from the month before, but it's nearly twice the pace of growth since last year. Growth remains below peak since 2017, though, so there's that. What's happening, guys? This is no longer keeping up with the Joneses. Keeping up with the Joneses ended in 2017. Keeping up with the Joneses was everyone competing on the block for the best car, the best lawnmower, the best this, the most fabulous vacation because they've been tapping into their home equity. Now, it's not that anymore. They're using their home equity, and I spoke to someone the other day. They're using their home equity to pay off their credit cards every month. And this guy has a very, very impressive salary. If you knew what this guy made, you would be like, wow, you need to take money from your home every month to pay off your credit cards. And it's like, yeah, I do, Mike. And that's how bad it's gotten. So it's not keeping up with the Joneses anymore. It's feeding your family now. So, but nearly twice the pace of growth since last year. Yeah, twice the pace of growth. Growth remains below peak seen 2017 through, and there's that. So I read that. Okay, now let's move on. Canadian reverse mortgage debt is up 26% from last year. Again, now it's the senior citizens that are getting caught in this. And they're at night, they're up for some reason. They can't sleep. They're out of retinol or retinol or whatever, and Geritol or whatever it's called, and they're sitting there and they're watching TV and it says, are you over 65? Do you own your home? Well, we will give you the freedom you need to give you all what you need to go and play golf and this and that. And people start tapping into their home equity loans, believing, yeah, I'm going to kick the bucket in 5-10 years. Might as well do that for the next 5-10 years. And guess what? They end up having to surrender their home because they can't make the payments back, and it becomes out of control. And you see a lot of senior citizens ending up in shelters, homeless shelters, and a lot of them being put up in these makeshift homes. So that's the scary part. Senior Canadians short on cash are rating their equity using reverse mortgages. See, they should be rating their savings and their pensions funds that they've been saving over the years to be able to survive or to live. The outstanding balance of reverse mortgage debt hit $3.74 billion in June, up 26.3% from last year. That works out to a whopping $778.9 million in reverse mortgage debt from the last year. Since borrowers aren't encouraged to pay the debt off, this is going to snowball a lot higher from here. So watch out, guys, especially when you see those commercials at night and they're saying, we could get you what you need, and we could get you that motorhome and that camper. Just go ahead and sign right here. Sign your house away. Take this equity away. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Yeah, watch out for that, guys. All right. StatCan. New condo prices stall in Toronto and fall in Vancouver. New condo prices stall in Toronto and fall in Vancouver. So they're stalling in Toronto. They were going up for a bit, and now it's starting to trickle down. New condo prices are rising at bare-neck speed in the markets that didn't surge over the past few years. Ottawa saw prices rise 8.4% in Q2 of 2019 when compared to a year before. That's the fastest in the country. Victoria followed with prices rising 8.3% from last year. Remember, Victoria, British Columbia, the Vancouver Island, Victoria, grew because of the mass exodus of Canadians leaving because they couldn't afford to live in Vancouver anymore. Over the same period, in third was Montreal, which saw prices rise a modest 0.5%. Again, Montreal rose because of mass exodus from the province of Ontario. Following a big spike last year, previously hot markets like Toronto and Vancouver were flat, down 1.7% over the same period. The cities outside Toronto and Vancouver have just figured out Canada is running out of land. I wouldn't say it's running out of land, guys, and I keep saying this to you guys. Once you get on a plane. Fly out of Toronto. Heck, fly out of New York. Fly out of Miami. When you're going over land, not over ocean, but flying over land, you see a lot of empty room, lots of empty spaces before you see the next city, especially when you fly over Canada. I just recently flew over Canada, and it's like, oh, there's Calgary. And then 20 minutes later, oh, okay, there's another little town there. And you don't see, like, it's not built up. There's just huge thousands, if not tens of thousands of empty tens of thousands of square miles, just empty. Hundreds of thousands of square miles, of empty space here in Canada. So don't worry about it. Toronto real estate. Toronto detached real estate sees more sales, higher prices. Remember, sales are up, but there's less inventory on the market, plus there's less turnover. Or there's more inventory on the market, which I think is happening. Let's read this. Toronto detached real estate is seeing sales and prices rise. There is 3,618 sales in August, up 20.55% from the year before. The typical price in the region is now $934,000, up 3% over the same period. Sales are up 2.87% higher than the 10-year median for the month. So this is substantial growth. Home prices are still down 10% from the peak they reached in May 2017. Sales for the month are back to normal and prices are still lower. So, yeah, prices are still lower, but you have to remember there's a lot on the market too. A lot of people trying to unload. And I got people on the ground in Toronto telling me that it's a zoo there. It's crazy. People going to see houses and they're lowballing them and people walking away and then, yeah. Okay, here we go. Vancouver real estate. Greater Vancouver detached real estate sales rise as prices fall to 2016 levels. Greater Vancouver detached real estate is seeing sales rise, but prices are still falling. There were 704 detached sales in August across the REBGV. Oh, that's it? That's not good, guys. You need to have at least 1,600 to 2,400 sales, at least, for you to go across. And it would take 100, 200 years to actually flip through the entire inventory in Vancouver that's for sale. If you were to go through the entire inventory, it would take a millennia to go through it. It's crazy. So, up 24.5% from last year. The price of a typical detached house fell to $1,406,104. This is not Kentucky here. $1,406,000, down 9.8% over the same period. Sales are still at 26.4% below the 10-year median number of August sales. So here you go, 26.4% below. We'll bring it around 1,200 to 1,500 sales, right? Sales are up, but pretty far normal, as reflected in how the market is treating prices. People don't make enough money to live. People are not making enough money to live. Let's see what's happening in Calgary housing. And I heard housing was going up there, so... Calgary housing market is closer to turning... hasn't exactly turned the corner, and that we all hoped. So they're thinking they're going to give it till next spring for it to turn the corner and start taking off. Health check of Calgary's housing market showing improvement. So here's from the RBC there. This is from last month. And Calgary's housing market continues to show improvement. So Calgary right now is making something of it, kind of trying to get themselves out of this wedge. They've been in the pits, get it? Oil pits. They've been in the pits for a while. And let's go to Edmonton housing. Hundreds of Photoshop protested. Protest proposed housing. Okay, that's something else. New homes in Edmonton see large price drop in Canada. There you go. That's from yesterday. Big move on tiny houses. Edmonton committee green lights. So they're going to go now with more tiny houses. Latest national housing price index show Edmonton has somewhat of a pulse in the market, but the beat is picking up based on the latest data from the National Housing Pricing Index. Edmonton Council to urge 5 federal leaders to reconsider total residual unit sales in Edmonton census metropolitan area. Many Canadians would be left out of liberal homebuyer. So Calgary and Edmonton and Quebec, it's just not big enough to really move the needle of housing demand. Yep. Oh, this is from a few days ago, 2 days ago. Homeless camps set up in downtown Edmonton raise concern. There you go. You're seeing it all over Canada. Let's move to Saskatoon. Let's move to Saskatoon housing. Saskatoon, West incumbents. No. Coast event. No. Nothing. Signs of stability in Saskatoon's housing market, showing signs of stability, but still showed signs of overbuilding. So Saskatoon's overbuilding right now. First-time home buyers in Alberta say the time is to buy now. So they're saying the housing market economics, according to BMO, guys, a bank, that the housing market is showing signs of Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon, and Winnipeg, Toronto. Housing sales jump 18% in Saskatoon during April. Housing sales jump up 16% Saskatoon during May. Wow, condo sales on a high right now in Saskatoon. Let's go to Manitoba. Seasonal homeless shelter. Manitoba Liberals promise to build more housing. It's not supply versus demand, it's affordability, guys. Manitoba election results rolling in. Federal, nobody cares. All right, nothing happening in... let's go to Winnipeg. Winnipeg advocates help other cities bring Indigenous perspective to the city. Manitoba votes. There's nothing here. Housing and poverty on voters' minds. Nothing here. All right. And let's go to Montreal. Attention on affordable housing. Property values of Montreal have just skyrocketed. This is from 2 days ago. Foreign buyer vacancy tax unlikely to derail housing rebound. New housing builds surge in Toronto and Montreal as real estate sales took place. Second place in Montreal. Montreal area homes value skyrocketing property evaluation. Trudeau vows to impose national tax on foreign buyers. Why did they let so many in? That's the problem. Gotta bring this up. Wow, did they take it down? Wow. Did they actually take down the article? Wow, that's phenomenal. Okay, I got someone at the door, guys. That's it for weekly housing wrap up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching.